TNC, Original African Stories. Listener discretion is advised as this podcast may contain violence or strong language. Previously on My Name is A-Zed.
I changed the $100 with me at Sabo. 36K. Hey God. I was flagged down by my rider, a young man wearing a suit with his tie slightly loosened. Banker, I thought.
10,000. Azeez, ibolo tirobo.
I've been saving Ni. I just want to do all I can to get Mama up and running again.
Azeez, how Oni? You have been buying apple on your way back since Monday.
Now Papa God send me good Samaritan. Imagine a passenger paying me dollars.
Hello? Is this A-Zed? My name is Princess. I called your number from Kassy. Please, I need a ride for later tonight.
Yes, ma. I'll be available. Which way are we going?
Just drive towards Lekki Phase 1.
Help! Please, somebody help!
Shut her up. Go with Zeno. Make it fast. I want you guys back here before Chief leaves, okay?
Wait, who? Who's Zeno? Who's Chief? Where are we?
A-Zed, wake up! Get up!
The sharp pain in my head throbbed like a beating heart, and it left me miserably awake. Sight blurry. I noticed a female bent over me, yelling, worsening the pain. She seemed to be crying as she shook me. In my head, I was telling her to stop, but my lips could not move. My eyes finally burst open, and the yelling instantly stopped. It was Princess. It took me a while to process where we were and how we got there.
Look, we have to get out of here. They may come back.
Here? Where? I tried to lift my head and the pain was unbearable. Looked around and noticed I was lying on the floor of some sort of swamp. Swamp. Zeno. Princess. It was coming back to me. My head hurt like crazy.
Sorry, please, just try to get up so we can find a way out of here.
She held out her hand to me, and I grabbed it as I stood to my feet, staggeringly, but found my footing. I remembered the ride, the voices, the gunshots. Zeno, but how did I?
Zeno said I should apologize for the pain.
Apologize?
Look, let's just get out of here first, please.
We hobbled through the dimly lit footpath, which we hoped led out of the swamp. I tripped and almost fell a few times, but the more I walked, the more the pain lessened. I noticed my phone was still in my pocket. Thank God. I pulled it out and put on the torch. The bright light pierced through the darkness and made so much difference. After what seemed like forever, we made it to the road. It was a rough, untarred road in the middle of nowhere. We stopped, wondering what direction to go next.
Everywhere is so dark. He said, where do we go? What do we do?
She sounded like she was about to cry. I moved close to her and tried not to shine my torch at her face. She still had on her very short dress, which was now ripped and less elegant, harboring all sorts of leaves and thorns. I reached out to hold her hand, but she grabbed me into an embrace. She was now crying, and I had to ignore the pain it brought to my head as I consoled her. It took almost another 5 minutes before she stopped crying. It was then she noticed how tightly she was clinging to me, and she eased off a little.
Má sunkún mọ́. Ọlọ́run ti gbàdúrà. Bàbá ìbídùn ńkọ́?
I turned around, waving my phone frantically, wondering where that voice had come from. Princess clinged onto me again, tighter this time. I noticed an old man walking towards us. He was dressed like a vigilante. He even had a Dane gun with him. I was scared and happy at the same time. Of course, my ordeal with the OPC men from Baduri was still fresh in my mind.
Bàbá ìbídùn ńkọ́?
He said as he finally got close to us. Bàbá ìbídùn. Princess and I looked at each other, wondering who he was talking about.
Ṣé kìí ṣe ọ̀dọ̀ bàbá ìbídùn ló ti ń bọ̀ ni?
Rárá sá o, a sọnù ni. I couldn't explain how we had gotten to find ourselves there to the old man, but he seemed very uninterested. He was quite convinced we had come to see a certain Baba Ibidun. When he told us we were somewhere in Ekpe town, I was so relieved. It wasn't so bad after all. I begged him to lead us to the nearest bus stop and he agreed. The walk to the bus stop was long and slow. We had to walk at the pace of the old man. Princess was still obviously scared, and my head was still throbbing with pain. I was honestly very puzzled about what happened, but I decided to save my questions for later. We finally made it to the bus stop, which looked more or less like a clearing by the highway. I checked the time on my phone, 2:30 a.m. As I pondered how we were going to get out of there, headlights from a speeding car lit up my quickly dying hope. It sped past us, of course, but there'd be more. I turned to look at the old man so I could at least thank him, but he was gone. Just like that. Princess held on so tightly to my hand I could barely feel the blood in my veins. That meant she had also noticed the vanishing watchman.
How are we going to get out of here?
I'm sure we'll find a taxi, or at least hitch a ride. Let's just wait somewhere more hidden. More cars sped past us, but my attempt to wave them down was futile. We waited and waited, and waved and waved. Nothing. There was a makeshift bench somewhere around the clearing. Looked like a roadside mechanic's workbench. We made our way there, and she eventually sat after initially refusing because she felt I needed it more. Frightened to death, but still a sweetheart. Waiting was probably a better option, even though I had to keep looking around to make sure we were safe. Are you okay? I asked as she evaluated the state of her dress.
I'm fine.
Can you please tell me what happened after we left Lekki? She took a deep breath.
I always work alone, A-Zed. This is what happens when you make compromises.
Compromises?
The chief had some other girls at his place, juvies. To me, they looked desperate. I had never seen them around before. They looked hungry also. I wanted to leave. I even started dialing your number, but he pleaded and pleaded. I backed down. That was when I compromised. And look where it landed me. Landed both of us. One of those girls must have stolen drugs from Chief's room. Chief is very generous with everything except his drugs. Especially his coke. I've seen him do things.
Coke?
Yes, cocaine. I've seen him do things to people who get between him and his coke. But today was different. That was a lot of coke and they found it in my bag. I was too surprised to say anything. I didn't even know what was going on, but Chief was too furious to even hear me out. Mark and Zeno had tied me up and they were taking me away when you came to the gates. Mark wasn't comfortable with letting you go, so they tricked you in and tied you too.
I felt the throb in my head thump louder. They hit me with something really hard.
It was a bat, a baseball bat. They drove us here and Mark's instructions must have been for them to kill us and dump our bodies in the swamp.
Yes, I remember.
Oh, Zeno, thank God you were here. Zeno made the other guy wait in the car while he took us to the swamp. Kneeling on the floor, all I waited for was the sound of the gun. I was so scared.
She burst into tears again. Emezino Wanchuku. I remember him from secondary school, but he had changed so much. All the muscles. Eme was one of those I considered special back then. He was a solid Efiko. Always reading, but he had nothing to show for it. It was something that puzzled us all. How could someone read so much, answering and solving all the questions minutes before an exam, and then end up failing? It wasn't until our final exams that I took serious interest in his case. I realized his problem was plain and simple. Oversabi. Eme never read instructions. Answer 2 and he would answer all. Answer none and he would still answer all. I made sure I sat beside him during our mock exams just so I could guide him, and the result was phenomenal. He passed all his exams, cleared his papers. I didn't think much of it, but from the way he spoke about me to others, I knew he was more than grateful. How could I possibly have known that little deed would save my life years later?
He hit you across the face. He said he had to do it just to slow us down a bit. Then he fired 2 shots into the bushes and warned us to get out of the swamp quickly. And also not to come anywhere around Chief. He apologized and then left. It took me so long to recompose myself. And then finally I woke you.
Not go anywhere near Chief K. But my car.
I'm so sorry, A-Zed. But knowing Chief and his goons, that car is probably gone by now.
Ha! Gone, K.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, like that, my uncle.
Someone stopped. Finally. The taxi kicked back the tears in Princess's eyes before they rolled back down in joy. The look on Princess's face when I tried pricing the fare was enough to know that she just wanted to get out of there. It felt awkward sitting at the back seat of a taxi while someone else drove. I couldn't shake the thought of losing my car. I didn't even know where to start from. Even if by some form of miracle, Uncle Mufu doesn't kill me, the hunger from not being able to earn a living would definitely do it. I was tired, bruised, and then thoughts of my test came to my mind. Oh my God, 6:43, I exclaimed as I remembered the test I was supposed to have. I was in no state to think. When we got to Parkview Estate Gate, Princess got down and asked us to wait for her. Minutes later, a young girl who I guess was a help came to the cab and handed me some money. In different circumstances, I would have been too excited to handle so much money. But again, thoughts of Uncle Mufu chasing me around the taxi park in my head. I just wasn't up for it. It was 8:44. I knew Dari would soon call me to ask where I was, so I turned off my phone. I just couldn't deal with all that. By the time I got to school, it was past 9, and I knew Dari would have gone for the test. I paid the taxi man and still had enough with me. I went into the room, cleaned up a bit, changed my shirt, and went out before any of my roommates came in. I needed to go somewhere I could think and clear my head. For some reason, the lagoon front kept coming to me. I had been there just once before and swore not to go back. As I was trying to make up my mind, I felt my phone in my pocket, and for some reason, I decided to turn it back on. And almost immediately after I did, a call came in from an unknown number.
Hello? A-Zed?
Yes, who's speaking?
It's Princess. Are you busy?
Oh, Princess! Are you okay? Is everything okay?
I'm fine. Can you come to Ikoyi?
Ikoyi? Are you sure you're okay?
I'm okay. Just come to my estate. When you get there, just ask for Amazing Grace House, okay?
Amazing Grace House. Okay, got it. I'll be there soon. I wondered what was going on. Why she wanted to see me. Maybe she had gone to report to the police and they wanted me to make a statement. I hope so. Chief needs to be taught a lesson. I walked out of school, biked to Yaba, bus to Obalende, and then biked to Parkview Gate. I was there in less than an hour. I met the guards at the gate and they directed me to Amazing Grace House. As I approached the building, I realized it was some sort of hotel or guest house, or so I thought. It was huge and beautiful, even from the outside. I walked to the gatehouse and told the guard there I was there to see Princess. I waited a few minutes while the guard made a phone call. Right after, he ushered me in and asked me to sit just beside the gatehouse. I continued to marvel at the beauty of the hotel or house or whatever it was. There were several cars parked in the compound. 2 Range Rovers, a Mercedes-Benz, a nice Toyota Prado, and one car I couldn't identify.
A-Zed!
Princess cut into my thoughts as she called my name. She had cleaned herself up and was looking beautiful as before. Good morning, Princess. I hope
Good morning. Daddy, this is the person I told you about.
I wondered who she was talking to, but as she turned to look up, I noticed a man standing at the terrace overlooking the compound. He was an elderly man, a little bit of grey hair, dressed in a white kaftan with huge red beads dangling from his neck and his wrist. I heard Princess whisper, "Greet him," and I responded, "Good morning, sir." I prostrated.
Young man, how are you?
I'm fine, sir.
So Princess told me you're going to be her driver?
I turned to look at Princess, completely confused.
How old are you?
I'm 24, sir.
Good. That's good. You see, Princess, she is my princess. And you need to drive her like a princess that she is. So I would find some time to call you later.
Thank you, Daddy.
Princess said with a broad smile on her face as we both watched the man turn away and walk into the house. Before I could ask questions, Princess turned to me, threw a key at me, and said,
See, that's the key to the Corolla. Warm it up and get ready. I'll be out soon.
With that, she ran into the house and left me with the key to the black Corolla in my hands. Me, Corolla. Mado.
My name is A-Zed, oh. My name is A-Zed.